Hello buddy, welcome back to another episode of Dusudo. I am playing Final Fantasy XIV. Last episode we unlocked Arcanist and the Rogue, and we are now continuing doing the quest. Alright then, my young Rogue, seeing as this is your first official outing, I want to be sure your dance steps are up to the task. With them short blades you need to get in good and close to your mark, aye? But we ain't bleeding swords and shining armor, and the lighter kit we wear ain't much protection from a click to the gan. So if you don't fancy spitting blood and teeth, your best defense is simply not being there when your mark winds up to land a nasty claret. Sliding round to a flank usually does the trick, but there's some rum fun every rogue should master the shade shift. Clear your mind and trust in your speed, and you can leave the axe wielding brute or spell flinging mage chasing your shadows while you bury your stabbers in his guts. Right, now it's time you put this lesson into practice against some of those Aurelia out in Lower Lanache. I hope you was paying attention last, because those tentacles can pack a wallop. Enjoy! So yeah, we just have to fight even more Aurelias, which I've already done. Oh well. Also, seeing these people in the guild do like stuff with their daggers is funny. There's one person who was like a never-ending, like sharpening their knife never-endingly. There's another dude who's like swinging his knife never-endingly while being half naked. And then there's that woman, like, trying to throw a dagger. But I guess there's also in the Pugilist Guild, like, always two people just punching each other. Hello. Yeah, this Aurelia don't even get the chance to attack me, basically. There we go. And that's all. Then we go back to the... Wow. Well, I guess I'm not too surprised about these low-level quests. Let me go and get Carbuncle in here. Okay, also another thing that you can do. When you use Ether Flow, it's a pretty good idea to use... when you use Ether Charge, it's a pretty good idea to use Energy Drain and then your Fester in the meantime. Since you can't really do anything, because it uses up a global cooldown whenever you use this. So there's like a lot of time where you're not really doing anything. So might as well use Energy Drain and Fester at that point. Which you will see me do a lot. Also, hello. You're level 17. For a second I was like, ooh! Hunting lock, and I was like, oh wait. That bit might be a little bit much for me to handle. There we go. Also, most things as a summoner work in minutes, basically. So this is a 60-second cooldown, and this is a 60-second cooldown. So... And usually if you have like all the summons unlocked, you'll go through all of the summons in about 60 seconds. Then you can just reset the entire cycle. At the moment we kind of have to wait because we only have one summon, but later on it gets a little bit better. Wow. Look at these quests! This is a level 5 quest even, I think. Wow, Somebody in front of my door with very, like, unnecessary loud music. It's probably gonna, like, freaking gas it whenever he moves to. Which you will probably hear. Can I equip other gear? No. Welcome back, Lynn. It appears your coordination with Carbuncle is progressing at a satisfactory pace. Shall we test your growing acumen with a more practical examination? Our work here at the Mailvan's Gate requires us to inspect and record the contents of incoming cargo. To simulate such a task, I have had several crates transported to the cliff south of the Zephyr Gate. I want you to examine those crates, then return the inspected cargo here to me. You would be surprised at the depths to which some merchants will sink to deter our customs agents from performing thorough investigations. Foul bottoms, rotting foodstuffs, flesh-eating Valken. I suggest you be prepared for any eventuality. That sounds fun. Also, hello, person who looks quite a lot like Futaba, except for the red eyes. I actually saw somebody basically cosplay as Futaba earlier this week. Which is pretty freaking nice. That was good. I've also seen like a lot of people who dress up as Luffy from One Piece. I really like it when people do cosplay in this game. Right. Then it's your practice then. This thing and then tentacle buggers will teach. It'll soon teach you to stay on your toes, eh? Ahem. Now we've got your blood ration. I'd say it's time we get down to work. First things first, we need to track down them adult coves, what rooked that Magitech gadget. Might be as one of our rogues has heard something. The guild thrives on information, you see, and we've agents scattered far and wide with their glazes keen and their wattles to the ground. Let's pay us a the freaking terminology over here is insane. Let's pay us a visit to old tall one at the Drowning Wench. Ask her for a weak ale and see what that gets you. I'm not setting you up for a laugh, lass. Trust me. Right. Give me a weak ale. 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 Ba, 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 ba. Right. A dainty dilemma. What am I doing over here? I keep on running to the wrong direction. Over here, and I have no idea why. Don't know what's wrong with me. Right. Welcome to the Drowning Wench. What's your pleasure, miss? A weak ale. Never in all my days. We may serve some cheap grog in the wench, but not that was watered down. If our usual ale is too bold for your taste, perhaps you'd like to order from the underground menu? Aye, there's quite a lot to offer for a customer with your roguish charms. Was there something in particular I could help you with? Ah, the trouble over that Magitech loot. It was not a subtle job. The gang in question is an unusual group of former pirates calling themselves the Dainty Demolishers. They seem to be enamored of court dandy mannerisms, and have a preference for seizing Guardian machinery. They're also known for conspiring with goblins. Rumors say that the Demolishers visit a beast camp in Middle of Nosh to fence their goods. And those goods generally take the form of Imperial technology. I imagine the goblins were rather pleased to take possession of a Mark. That is a number which I can't figure out at the moment. Anti-aircraft cannon firing mechanism. If you mean to steal the device back, and your trail leads to the goblin camp in Summerford. Wait. What is... If you mean to steal the device back, then your trail leads... Okay, yeah, leads to the goblin camp in Summerford. I'm so sorry, I'm a little bit tired. Anyway. Summerford, eh? On your way, lass. Meet me across the river from the camp, and we'll plan our next move. Doho. Right, you also have a quest. Rising to the challenge. Is that to... That's probably to unlock the challenge log, I think. What's in the box? What's in Pandora's box? Death. Get your noggin down, Lynn. I've been snilching the action across the way there. No sign of the demolitioners, but I did see one of them gambler coves stuffing the Guardian gadget into his backpack. I know it's low one would steer us, alright. This is your chance, lass. Grab that gambler gobby and grab that device. I've lost track of which gobby was, but I'm thinking it's that sod on the left. Just make sure you dance away from any bomb blasts. Twisting and dodging in the middle of a fireball might not save you from getting your eyebrows singed off. A goblin gambler. There we go. Easy peasy. That's the way, lass. There was nothing for me to do but sit on my only daddles and watch. So you've got the goods then? Developed in the year 40 in the 43rd year of the first Guardian Emperor's reign, this trigger device works with all Imperial anti-aircraft cannons. Cool. Aye, this is the device and no mistaken. Let's get it back to the guild, eh? We still owe them Demolisher bastards a million, but they'll keep that for now. Here, you should be the one to deliver the prize to Jack. It was your hand which snatched it out of the goblin's paws, after all. Doho. Captain, I say, some fiend has perpetrated violence upon our goblin colleagues whilst we sought to wet our throats with fine liberation. This will not stand, Captain. Our finely filched loot has been pilfered from under our noses. Blast and brother, my blood boils and bubbles at the temerity of this affront. I know not the identity of these audacious buffoons, but they shall be made to pay, and pay dearly. With me, my fine fellows. Huzzah! What a bunch of weirdos. Also, somebody decided to make a different type of noise. That's interesting. Not sure if you guys can hear it, but you might. Wait, let me go into my carbuncle. My carbuncle! You sense a hostile presence. There we go. So that is how I do my opening, by the way. if you were able to follow. Alright. I'm not a threat. Pray ignore my presence for the present and allow me a moment of a moment to cogitate. That's a word. The reaction to my sudden appearance was within expected parameters, but I must admit I did not expect so proficient a performance against the enemy set against you. Yet effective though your tactics were, I spied much room for improvement. As I watched you battle, the wheels of my mind whirled into motion, as they are wont to do, inventing other possible strategies you might have employed. Let's see, taking into account your current level of ability, factoring in the ethereal constant, multiplying by the numbers of opponents, then applying your tactics to other potential combat scenarios. Oh dear, my calculations indicate failure upon encountering threat level 9785. Well, I'll have to see what we can do about that. Though the opportune window to do so has passed, I would nevertheless introduce myself. I'm Kalia, a Melvian Gate Assessor. Acting Guildmaster Stibbergain elected me to oversee your training and provide any necessary guidance and instruction in the field of Arcanima. From what I have observed thus far, you have an admirable grasp of the fundamentals. I do, however, wish to confirm one small detail regarding your choice of arcane geometries. What factor most influences your actions during battle? Desire to outwit an enemy, potential for amusement, I simply do what feels right. Aha, just as I predicted, and now I have the final element needed to perform another calculation. Probability of you becoming an Arcanist of note is 90%, give or take half a percent. Yes, the certainty is quite high. After all, I only know of one other practitioner who responded to my question in the same manner. It was the man who bestowed upon me this grimoire, the Guildmaster himself. While our inscrutable leader is, as I'm sure you've heard, on an indefinite leave of absence, he did leave us with his most notorious saying to date. Strategy is a tool used to manipulate one situation into the desired reality. No matter how gifted you and I might be, however, the instantaneous manipulation of reality that might cause us to suddenly become mighty arcanists is beyond our present abilities. Discipline and experience is the finest strategy in this case. I suggest you continue to focus on refining your aptitude with Carbuncle. Mastery with an arcane entity will greatly improve your success as a wielder of Arcanima. Here ends your lesson for today. Pray return to the guild. I believe Mistress Stibergane, his fucking name, is awaiting some inspected cargo. And what of myself? I'm off to the field, of course. The tactics I reasoned out earlier must be attempted in real-life scenarios. Theory is all well and good, but there's no substitute for actual combat. We will meet again soon. Okay. Let's go back over to the Arcanist Guild. Right. As I have hiccups. Even more hiccups. Hello. Ah, Lynn, have you returned with the cargo? A wooden crate used by Melvian's Gate to train new assessors. Yes, everything seems to be in order. Relatively clear of blood and other gore. That can be something of a problem. In our profession, you understand. I also had word from Clea regarding your performance. She seemed eager to continue your training. An odd lass, I'll admit, but the guild can boast no finer mind for tactics. You would do well to heed the instructions she offers, particularly that which touches on the diligent approach to her art. Did you perhaps notice the battered tome Clea carries? The Initiate's grimoire has served her from the day she entered the guild. She has her reasons, but it's admittedly strange to see it kept all the way to her present position as Foreseer. I fear such an intense focus on Arcanima has led her to overlook other important aspects of life. As our master strategist guides your Arcanist training, I hope that you might return the favor and help to broaden her own perspectives. Somewhat. But enough of such matters for the moment. You have done well this day, Lynn. Continue your practice with Carbuncle as Clea has been. I will be here when the time comes for your next lesson. I guess I'll get this rope then, since I don't really have a rope at this level. There we go. And another grimoire. Cool. Right. Let's go and get the next quest while I'm here. Yes, Lynn, the time for your next lesson is upon us. You are keeping well, I trust? Taking the occasional brisk walk. One cannot form sound thoughts if one fails to maintain a sound body. Now, assuming you have been following Clea's instructions, you should be ready to face the more dangerous threats found in Western Lanoche. I speak of roselings and wild jackals, and yes, I would have you vanquish 3 of each. It is the perfect sample size. The first acts as a preliminary test case, the second to test your hypothesis, the third to perfect the tactics you devised. Speaking of which, I trust your strategy will consist of more than simply flinging ruin over and over again. You are not the novice you once were, and your skills in the field ought to reflect that. If you find yourself wanting for other approaches, consider an assault with ruin in tandem with attacks from your Carbuncle. When timed appropriately, you can deal a crippling blow to your opponent. Wow, just like no sound when I switched. Normally it makes a sound. When I switched jobs, it was just silent, and all I heard is my Carbuncle scream like ah as it disappears. Managed to grab all that firing mechanism yet, Lynn? Nice. Ah, still in one piece too. You've done well for your first assignment, lass. It don't look like much, but that crew put their lives on the line to cloy this here bauble. They'll be pleased to see it snatched back from the ruffians. We've yet to do for... Wait, what? We've yet to do for the dainty demolishers, Jack. The job ain't over. You're right, Underfoot. It ain't. You break the code, you face the consequences. Oh, that's not at all what I expected from the inside of a convent. This dude. How might you be, sirs? Haha, your ignorance is understandable after all. Our schemes are always perfect, our heists impeccable. Shall I reveal our infamous name and drink in your delicious terror? We are deadly dastardly and dictionally devilish. Quail before the dainty demolishers. Captain, I say, there's the lies who misappropriated our merchandise. I concur. She is the selfsame simpleton whom we trailed unnoticed to this very establishment. Surprise, surprise! Now, my dear dandies, let us not be unpleasant. We should endeavor to resolve this distastefulness without resorting to insult or less diplomatic methods. At least not yet. You there, yes. The clean-cheeked errand boy. Be a good fellow and fetch me your superior. One of your colleagues has committed a terrible crime against us, and we shall not be leaving until the proper restitution has been paid. Oh, an errand boy now, am I? Tell me, Captain, just what kind of place do you think this is, then? This place? Why, I suppose it is some manner of convent. The one-eyed doorman named it the Dutiful Sisters of the Edelweiss or some such. And you've yet to realize your mistake. Your fate was sealed the moment you dragged your sorry quarren across his threshold. Are you threatening me, boy? I'll have my fellows cut out that impudent tongue. We've exhausted our reserves of dainty today, lads. Show these fraudulent sisters how to demolishers deal with upstarts. You still don't understand, do you? There are 3 sorts of calls with the doorman will let pass. Clients, recruits. God spit! I'll kill you all. Wow. Did your mum teach you not to interrupt a lady when she's talking? You'd have learned that the 3rd sort of cull is a bollocks for brains mark that marches himself right into the rogue's den. Rogues, but we were so careful! Arthur tale in my pirate days, stories about the merciless wraiths who uphold the code. They weren't called rogues back then, though. The upright thieves they were, the knives in the shadows. You can't beat them, you're just trying to scare me. Well, the captain of the dainty demolishers is not so easily cowed. To the hells with your deceptions! Huzzah! Huzzah for my fallen comrades! I love how that Mikode dude just did nothing. He never does anything. Deceptions, aye. Anyone you meet could be a rogue. Captain, even a clean-cheeked errand boy. He's still breathing. Find some rope and string him up someplace in town. And now the job's done. Quite an introduction you had there, eh? Welcome to Limbs Elements's ever-churning underbelly, where the thieves shed their skins and became rogues. Not much for discussing the old ways, but since it's come up, I might as well clear up the confusion. It was back when piracy was at its peak. The coves who protected the code were dimber dabbers, the best lads and lasses to be had from among the pirate crews. They bit back the goods what was wrongly bidden, and came for the guilty under cover of darkmans. Upright thief became the title for these coves, what dealt in sanctioned stealing and milling. But it was only those these words are so difficult. But it was only those as had cut all ties with the Buccaneers' life what was accepted into the ranks. Conflicting loyalties and all that. They formed their own guild and even their own way of speaking, and what was once pirates was pirates no more. Later on, when Myrtlewhip took the Admiral's chair, the upright thieves agreed to abide by our laws. It became the Rogues Guild to mark the change and altered our recruiting policy to accept adventurers like yourself. But although the title is different, the job remains the same. Uphold the code and preserve the underground society of what spawned us. Just as you've done with this assignment, keep up the good work, Lynn, and you'll go far in the shadows. Yeah, most of this stuff is kind of shitty, except for the daggers. Yoink. I've not leveled up, so this is still the best gear I can have. A fine evening to you, Lynn. And a fine evening it is for a spot of work, wouldn't you agree? This time round, since some eager buccaneers campered aboard a local merchantman and made off with a shipment of muskets. Now, seeing as it ain't lawful to cloy from a Laminson vessel to begin with, the yellow jackets fell upon them daft coves afore their boot was even dry. Aye, they caught the pirates right there on the docks, with the stolen boomsticks nowhere to be found. Fenced in a longboat deal, I'm thinking. That's when our guild was officially contracted to retrieve the goods, which weren't really needful, since the code would have had us on the job. Anyway, you don't bite the purses of your fellow Lamenses and all that. So, this is your assignment, me natty lass. Find out where them weapons went and bite that shipment back. Seeing as the cutters as hit that merchantman are already rotten in irons, you needn't rush in with your stabbers a stabbing. I want his job handled quick and quiet, and have the perfect partner to show you how it's done. This here's Vebek, or Vekeb. Vekeb? I guess. This tray. Ain't no other rogue what can match her in the art of skulking. A pleasure. There's some problem, Kaveba? You seem a bit out of sorts. I'm bloody starving. I had one of them finger sandwiches set aside, you know, those egg-filling tasties they make at the Bismarck. But when I got back from my work, it was bloody gone. Uh-oh, it was for Gibbs? I thought it was underfoots. Well, you just head out on a job, and I'll see if I can't turn up that missing sandwich by the time you return. Alright, Jack. Ah, one more little detail you should know. The muskets was meant for the Yellow Jackets' armory, so once all is bob, you can hand the goods to one of their culls directly. We can start whenever you're ready, Lynn. I've had a colleague keeping a waddle out for her that might help us, so I suggest you have a few wits with her first. You'll find her at the Highland Post, posing as a fishmonger. Right. Off we go. As I yawn, again and again. Okay. This stuff is happening all in Limbs Alaminza, so I'm gonna do this one first. Methinks. Not this time, I can actually go this way. Blah, blah. Hello there, miss. We've carp and trout, lobster and shrimp. But I hear tell you've been looking for a special breed of fish, the long, shiny kind, with sparkle put a bloke in your arse. We don't sell that kind here, but you might try them foreign merchants. What was they called again? Ah, the traders of edge. They hail from the South Sea Isles and are known for dealing in all types of nasty spitters and cutters. I shall warn you, these folk ain't ones for questioning the source of their merchandise. In fact, they seem more than happy to pay for goods what came from below deck, so to speak. But if you're still keen to get your hands on those rare fish, the Invest Uri, the Edge merchant worth visiting Limsa, is looking to load up and leave the city before long. Just how he means to transport his goods remains a mystery, though. What with all the iron blades he's got nursing his operation, it makes it hard for a girl to get close enough to eyeball the competition, it does. I'll be sure to keep an eye peeled on your behalf, but it might be as you can learn a little more from folk around town. Just waving at the kid. Traders of veg, eh? Well, if one of their merchants have been staying in the city, then someone will know something that points us in the right direction. The trick is to listen without being seen. You'd be surprised at how culls cackle when they think no one else is around. We'll focus on places what see plenty of traffic. We can have the Bismarck, the ferry docks, and East Hawker's Alley. I'll try my luck at a few other spots, then meet you in front of the guild when I'm done. Remember, keep hitting, keep quiet, and keep your waddles open. My waddles. I'll keep my waddles open. My god. The terminology is quite something. Not going to lie. Blip, 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 blip. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like, when I'm playing games and it's night, it's very peaceful. But if I'm, like, out in the night in real life, I do not feel, like, calm at all. I feel very unsafe. Okay. So there's some dudes. There's some dudes, yes. Where these dudes are at, I have no clue. Ah. Pierce is stressed over some matter. Approach her while cloaked by her hide ability to attempt to eavesdrop on her groveling. Yep. Grumbling and discontent. Ah, sneer in that customer's face. They think I can command the skillet to cook more swiftly just to meet his pressing departure schedule. I don't know how things are done in the South Seas, but here in Limsa, folk appreciate that fine cuisine cannot be rushed. Come on, Duff, you must not speak ill of the patrons. Now, what was next on my list? Ah, another finger sandwich for the dutiful sisters. Some of them must be rather fond of eggs. Right. And now let's go over to the ferry dogs. The ferry dogs! Yes. No. Let's go and maybe first go to Hawker Alley. This way. Let me go and hide. Okay, roll for speaking in a low but lively tone to a nearby customer. Approach him while cloaked by your hide ability to attempt. Yeah, sure. Hello, Gerulf. You have quite an eye for quality, sir. We've splendid range of produce from every corner of Eorzea, but one simply cannot visit Limsa without sampling some of the local specialties. Would you care for some freshly squeezed Luscian orange juice, or perhaps our famed salt cod is more to your taste? Grolf continues to espouse the virtues of his merchandise, but he is impassioned, urging appear to have little relevance to your assignment. The freaking words that this game uses are insane. Right. Off to the docks we go. Curse my sense of duty. Would that I had stayed at the wench for that extra pint instead of returning early. Didn't ask to see anyone being bribed. And certainly not my relief pilot. Wonder what that merchant was about. Smuggling? Most likely. Should I report this to the Yellow Jackets? But what if I'm being watched? I could end up face down in the harbor. Right. Good. Welcome back, Lynn. Hope your skulking went well. You might be an angel of death with the dagger stuff. But any rook, why, gosh, you. What turns the shadows is headed for an early grave. A sneaky Mort knows about without risking a scrap, or slip herself into the best position to ambush a mark. Once they've seen you, though, your rum fun is done. Hiding is part concealment and part distraction, and you won't be disappearing on a cove what already knows you're there. Alright, I'm done prattling. What did you manage to learn about our musket buy-in merchant friend? Slipping coin to a ferry pilot, was he? And by what you heard from that shepherd, the Bismarck, this trader means to hop the twig, and soon. That matches with my own findings. He's vacated his rooms at the inn and paid his dues in full. Being a merchant, we can be sure that he won't be leaving without his merchandise. So here's the plan: we wait for him to stack his goods on the pier, then you ghost in and grab them firearms. I'm hoping we can get the job done quiet and under cover of darkness, but it never hurts to be prepared for the worst. Sounds like you've got a small army of sellswords on the payroll. Right, I'll send word to the Yellow Jackets and have them post a call near Hawker's Alley. That way you won't have to have far to bolt once you've bitten the goods. The mark should be along any moment. Lynn, have you got your skulking boots on? Let's do it. Let's fucking do it. Right. I've spotted the mark at the end of the pier. Sneak over there and lighten his load. We can also use sprint while in sneaking to move faster. By the way. Nice. You're not supposed to be here. I thought I ordered my hirelings to keep this jetty clear. 1, 2, 3. There's one missing. My crate of muskets, it's gone. Wow. Steve, stop her, you useless sluggards. What am I paying you for? Wow. We've no place to run, time to get your stabbers out. My god. That was a failure of a stealth mission and a half. Wow, Jesus, murdered. Bonus to the one who brings me their hearts. Get the goods to the Yellow Jackets, okay. What's all this Bob? These, once again, these terms are insane. Let me go and use sprint, so I can move a little bit faster. Just a little more. Hello. Touch his chest. Oh, these are stolen muskets. Quartermaster will be pleased. And then everybody disappeared. The end. We don't need to go right now. Back at Rose Guild, okay. Was a little bit difficult to see. Man, I really am tired. The perfect content to do when I'm a little bit more tired. Well, I think like the more perfect content would be to do roulettes. That turned hairy, didn't it, Duff? Once you reach the Yellow Jacket, though, the merchant call of his blades, wise enough to cut his losses. I'll give him that. I'd say we're all done here. Let's head inside and tell Jack the Ben news. Ben news, whatever. Heard the sound of fighting coming from outside, and now I've whittled the cause of it. I thought we were aiming for subtle on this job. Not many swords, was there? But you got the Yellow Jackets. Yeah. The Yellow Jacket's what they wanted, so all's well that ends well, eh? On your way to becoming first-class roguelin? Aye, the job didn't unfold exactly as planned, but do you see the value of keeping out of sight? Skill might seem slow, but it can save you time. And a fair amount of bleeding in the long run. Ah, speaking of unexpected developments, I have a bit of bad news for you, ffXIV. I searched high and low, but it seems some unprincipled cove has yaffled your sandwich. There were not much crumbs to be found. No, my sandwich! It was a Bismarck special. Do you know how much I was looking forward to that meal? Me belly's about ready to cave in on itself. It is a tragedy of the highest order, love. And you know I can't bear to see my rogues in such distress. So I gave Underfoot a special assignment. He should be back any moment now. With a freshly made Bismarck special finger sandwich. You did that for me? You're not japing with me, are you, Jackal? Or Jackal. This ain't no japing matter. It's a guildmaster's responsibility to see that all his coves and morts are at their best for the job. Ah, Jack, there you are. I've got that sandwich you ordered. And didn't the chef give me a waffle when I said I was in a hurry? Maybe next time you could think twice before you yaffle a fellow rogue sup. Oh, bollocks. Jack, did you eat my supper? No, lass. Let's not be hasty. There's a fresh news sandwich right here for you. No harm done, eh? You've cloyed something what belongs to me, Jack, and I can't ignore the code. Aye, the code. We mustn't ignore the codes. You're having a laugh, aren't you, lass? Lass? That might be the swiftest string-up I've ever seen. A punishment to fit the crime. Take a good long look, Lynn. The code exists to preserve peace in Limsa, to keep the alleys from running red with blood. The city's me home, and I'll draw daggers on any cove fool enough to threaten that peace. A pointed lesson. Let's head inside, eh? Your sandwich will get cold. Hey, do you mean to leave me hanging here all night? At least you gave me a grand view of the harbor. God's piss, these ropes are tight. And now we find ourselves indebted to the Rogues Guild. The Rogues Guild. The impropriety of it all. Would that I could see them occupying a cell next to those thieving pirates. Well then, never steal a woman's food, because you will die. Well, either die or, well, get strung up. Ah, and ropes will leave shave marks for a bleeding week. I've wriggled myself free, but that's the last time I let me belly do the thinking. And just think, if a ffXIV strung me up over an egg sandwich, Those coves will and truly stomp on the code, get far worse. Keep your training, lass, and you'll soon be handing out rogue justice yourself. Right, anything better than what I have? No. Well, except for the daggers. The bloody daggers! Any other gear that I can equip? Yeah. Ah, yeah. Alright, so that's all I can do with that. Let's go and kill some enemies. In Western Lanoche. Let me also go and summon my carbuncle. As I'm having hiccups. I can definitely like notice the difference between like my melee character basically, like my melee jobs. Or my Disciple of Wars. There we go, my Disciples of War. Nice shit. I can definitely notice the difference in damage that I'm doing. Because of the much better equipment that my Disciple of War has. As opposed to my Disciple of Magic. But oh well. Yep. One more. And then we are done with this. There we go. And time to go back over to the Arcanists Guild. Welcome back then. How do you feel to conquer such ferocious foes? Let us ride that wave of triumph onto an even more demanding and dangerous challenge. Your next training exercise will have you accompany Forseer Clea on one of her inspections. This experience will afford you the opportunity to witness firsthand the practical application of Arcanima. Pray do not tarry, Lyn. Clea awaits you on the floor below with further details. Right. Yes, my friends, there is a floor below this. Which is something I forgot about. I just didn't know about when I first played the game. Hello. A timely appearance as I expected. Shall we proceed directly to the job at hand? I have been tasked with examining the wares of a goblin peddler caravan run by Boylestock's family. Our agents suspect these beastmen merchants of dealing in forbidden goods. Our agents suspect these beastmen merchants of dealing... Okay, yeah, I see. As such, I've calculated that announcing an inspection has a 60% chance of inviting physical violence. I have prepared a strategy to respond to this possible shift into hostilities, but there is an important precondition you should be made aware of before we discuss the finer points of my plan. Though I am considered gifted in the formalities of tactics, I lack the reflexes and coordination necessary to employ many of those self-same strategies on the field of battle. Pray keep this factor in mind and adjust your perceptions accordingly. Now, should the goblins offer battle, you are to execute combat pattern 1345, otherwise known as stratagem focus fire. You and your carbuncle will concentrate your attacks on a single foe, and one by one the enemy will wither until the combined onslaught probability... the enemy will wither under the combined onslaught, I say. Probability of victory, 95%. Reports place the peddlers in the vicinity of the cookpot, in Middle of Nosh. I will depart immediately to assess the situation. Seek me out once you arrive. Yeah, so I have to deal with, like, freaking weird-ass pirate talk, and then on the other side I have to deal with the strategy talk. Cool. Well, at least I don't have to deal with like a million Lalafels. So that helps my voice quite a lot. Because Lalafell voices and female voices are kind of the worst for me. Let's go, and I already have my carbuncle summoned. Is it summoned? Summoned. I already have my carbuncle summoned. Yes. I am Forseer Clea of Melvion's Gate. You are to cease all transactions and surrender your goods for inspection. Nasty sneaky peekers, gobby spit uplander, nosy eyes, unstabby iron. A predictably aggressive response. Very well, Lynn. Remember what we discussed? Time to kick his ass! Defeat the goblin peddlers. Stratagem focus fire. The thing is, I think focus fire is... Is that a thing over here? No. I think focus fire used to be a skill that you could use as an arcanist. Oh boy. This person is just in their entire like own freaking anime. So as you can see in this battle, the NPC's carbuncle actually attacks physically, basically. And she's using stuff like miasma, which is something that we don't have anymore. She also has much longer cast times than me. I think it also used to be that Fester would do more damage if you, like, depending on how many debuffs the enemy has. Where's my... Where'd she go? Wait, what happened? I must formulate a new strategy. The battlefield is yours. This is the left. Nicely done. Adaptation, improvisation. I might have been observing our beloved guildmaster himself in action. This was the perfect example of how the strategy for a given task should be tailored to the abilities of the assessor. In other words, before you begin formulating your tactics, it is necessary to fully understand your own strengths and weaknesses. On that note, there is another question I would ask. When it comes to improving the probable success of a strategy, do you consider it more effective to concentrate on playing to your strengths or shoring up your weaknesses? Enhancing my strengths. Oh, again you respond as the Guildmaster once did. I must revise the probability for your potential to attain greatness to 97%. You are one to keep an eye on, that much is certain. But to return to the subject of battle plans, your calculations must include an accurate assessment of your available techniques and their relative effectiveness. This requires you to be critically aware of your own limits, the limits of your allies, and the characteristics of your enemies. I believe that covers about everything for today. Please return to the guild and make your reports to Mr. Stibber Game. Until we meet again. I shall abide here until the Yellow Jackets arrive to take the peddlers into custody. My strategies will keep me company. Me and my strats. Just strats. Perfect delivery. Let's... Back on the field then. Clea contacted me with a summary of events. It seems you were treated to a lecture on knowing thyself. That particular lesson is ordinarily taught only to intermediate practitioners. Without a sufficient store of combat experience from which to draw, it is difficult to fully appreciate the profundity of such a seemingly simple truth. Nevertheless, I feel confident that you will soon be ready for a more ambitious assignment. Keep to your studies and maintain the razor edge of your mind. Right, is there anything that's going to be like really good? I think most of these things will be... I'm going to take a look. If I have anything of gloves? No, I don't. Alright, let's go and get these. Yoink and yoink. Anything else? No. Alright. And that, my friends, is, however, going to conclude this episode of this. I was playing Final Fantasy XIV, and next episode we're going to go and do the hunting log until we have enough XP to do the next job quest, and until we can do basically dungeons. So yeah, goodbye.